Yo, peeps, what's going on? Yo, as you know, a lot of fucked up shit's been going on in London recently, but we ain't even here to talk about that. Fuck David Cameron. Yeah, anyway, basically, one story come up in the news about a week ago about some poor kid that got killed up in the mountains by a polar bear. And like, I thought that was kind of mad, because obviously no one wants to go out like that, but I couldn't help but notice how much sympathy everyone had for the guy that got killed, and no one didn't give a fuck about the polar bear. And that kind of pissed me off, because let's be real now, people talking about this animal rights shit, and they killed the polar bear for being a polar bear. Yeah man, that shit was just wrong. The way I see it is, anyone that's got the Discovery Channel or any of that shit, they know what polar bears do. Polar bears are top of the food chain. Last time I checked, they were predators, and predators hunt, kill and eat shit. That's what they do. For instance, me, I'm only 5'10", 80 kilos, and to be fair, if I come down the stairs in the morning on my yard and I see you man have pitched up a tent in my house and I didn't invite you, I'm putting my foot straight through that shit. All you'll be feeling is size 9 stamping out on your head. I ain't gonna be knocking on no tent like, yo, excuse me, what are you guys doing here? None of that shit. Foot's going straight through the tent, nothing long. So what did them man really expect the polar bear to do? Man's come out of his yard now, stretched and all that, heading down to get some food, as you do. As you know, yeah, male polar bears, maybe you don't know, male polar bears can grow up to about 12 feet long and over 500 kilos. Even me with my 5'10", 80 kilo self ain't letting you in my yard pitching up tent, having a little Glastonbury shit up in my house. So what the fuck did you expect from a 500 kilo 12 foot big ass beast? What was the polar bear supposed to knock on a tent and say, excuse me guys, well I've just gone to get food for the missus and the little polar cubs, you know how it is, I'm a provider and all that. So basically I've come out and I couldn't help but notice you lot pitched up a tent out here, and to be fair, it's not really safe for you to be here, but because I'm a nice bloke, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a heads up and you lot should really move it along, because my mate Terry down there, he's a nasty piece of work, and to be fair, you see with all this climate change, it's a bit hard for us to eat these days, and he won't be so nice to you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carry on, and hopefully by the time I come back you guys won't be here. Fat fucking chance of that. Yeah, so what's happened now is polar bear has just walked up, he's seen these tents, so he's thinking, yo, what the fuck is this? To them, that's just some foreign object, you know what I mean? Polar bear, them man are smelling food from about 2 miles away, you know what I mean? And they're smelling seals and shit like that, that's undersea. These big motherfuckers are punching through ice to get food. You don't want to encounter one of these fuckers. So the polar bear just ran up on the tent rags, stuck his head in the tent, and just looked around and just grabbed the first bear that he seen, and obviously he just grabbed hold of him. They're saying that one man tried to punch the polar bear in the nose to get him off him. This thing punches through ice and you're gonna punch it. Are you nuts? Anyway, polar bear has killed this brother, and then out of nowhere they ain't tranquilized it or nothing, they just shot the thing dead. They're endangered species anyway, yeah. And the worst thing about it is they've killed this polar bear now. I see a man in the newspaper trying to analyze. Oh, maybe the polar bear was hungry, and you know, it's getting increasingly hard for them to eat through the climate change and all that bollocks. How about the polar bear was just being a fucking polar bear and woke up and saw someone in his yard that shouldn't have been there and went to fucking eat it? That's what really happened. There's no point trying to logically like try and think, oh, what would a polar bear do? Or maybe it was hungry, or maybe his girl left him last night. No, maybe the polar bear was just being a fucking polar bear, and polar bears eat shit. When have you ever seen the Discovery Channel polar bears there stroking a cat? Know what I mean? And furthermore, what the fuck are you doing there? They said that people have died in that spot from bear attacks before. They're talking about training man to shoot polar bears just in case. Well, guess what? The traps and that you set did not work. Polar bear went MI2 on that shit, went round your traps and munched someone. That's what happens. At the end of the day, I ain't never been sitting in my yard watching Jeremy Kyle and then a fucking polar bear's just run up and started ringing off my doorbell. I know that. You know what I mean? Polar bears ain't Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't just turn up at your yard uninvited. So if you stay at your yard, that shit won't happen. So the moral of the story is, keep your ass in your house, because Jehovah's Witnesses don't kill people. Fact.